Well, we always say retirement is a journey, one that you shouldn't have to navigate solo. So that is why every week here on The Right Path to Retirement, we turn to financial advisor Jimmy Lynn, certified financial planner and the founder of Right Path Wealth Management right here in Las Vegas. One thing that always jumps out at me is how often regret ends up showing up in retirement. And it's not always about how much people have saved, but it could be about the decisions that they made under pressure. So this study I saw this week by the Nationwide Retirement Institute, it was of recent retirees, and it highlighted a concern that we've seen before. About 55% of recent retirees regret how they've saved. And that's not surprising. They wish they'd started sooner and they wish they'd put away more. Okay. But that's not all this survey found. And we've got Carrie Hannon on Yahoo Finance talking about another interesting find. I want us to take a listen.
I think that what happens is, and what this study shows is people who are getting nervous like this, especially these new retirees, they're actually starting to pay attention to their investment portfolios, which is fine on one hand, but they're making changes. And we all know that often might not be your best move to go shifting things around just when things are a bit rocky.
So, Jimmy, I want you to talk to us about those pre-retirement years and those early retirement years and why those are the worst time for somebody to be making emotional portfolio changes.
Yeah, this really hits home because it's funny. Because as you know, Casey, we are local here in Las Vegas. And so we do meet a lot of clients in office in Henderson and Summerlin. And many of the people that we're meeting, they are in that stage where, they're starting to prepare for retirement. They're like, they have that date marked on their calendar. It's going to be 2 years from now or a year from now. And so they are starting to do the legwork that a lot of our listeners are probably doing as far as starting to map out what retirement is going to look like for them. And funny thing is that they typically, most retirees, during those years where you're just putting money into your retirement account, you're not really logging in to see the performance of it and the ups and downs of it. But as you get closer to retirement, what we do see, because I guess the light bulb is going off that, hey, I'm actually going to need this money that I've been stuffing away for the past 20, 30 years. How is it doing? And depending on when they log in, they could get a false sense of security or a false sense of fear, because now they're actually looking at it and they realize that bucket of money that they've saved for can go up, but it can also go down. And it puts into them a little bit of fear. And that's the emotion that we're talking about, right? Because you know that you're a few years from retirement, or you just entered into retirement and, man, I'm going to have to start living off this. I got to start pulling money out of this. I don't want to see this account value go down. And so what do? We, as humans, we seek safety, and people just like, I've seen the worst thing. I don't want to say the worst thing, that's maybe a compliance thing, but something is not advisable is people just go to cash. They're like, I need this money now. I don't like what's going on around the world. I'm going to go to cash. And that's the type of emotional decision that can, quite frankly, change and really harm your long-term retirement plans. And we have other people that are like, you know what? I'm a little bit behind. I got to get more aggressive. I got to start jumping on those AI stocks as they're at all-time highs because, I think they're going to go higher. Or, there's this crypto craze that maybe I can jump on because I'm so behind the 8 ball and I need to grow my assets. Both cases, both spectrums could be very harmful retirement. And so we don't advise that. It's really about thoughtful planning. You can't just wing it and think that, you're going to make these tweaks that, just are not well thought out and could be too extreme on both ends. It's about understanding what your needs are. You really got to sit down, map it out. What are my resources that I have to work out right now? What is a reasonable growth rate for these? You don't want to try to squeeze too much growth out of it and take unnecessary risk. But a lot of these things, Casey, when we think about what we're trying to map out, it's not something that people kind of understand. Well, what does taking this much risk mean? How can my portfolio actually fall in value? Because some people may be chasing double-digit growth every year, but they don't realize that also can mean double-digit losses in their portfolio, which can be very dramatic. So some things like that, I think, is what that clip is really talking about as far as the emotions that can take place and then the decisions you might make that could be, dramatically good or bad.
You mentioned people panicking and moving to cash, and that can kind of derail things. So are there any other common moves that you've seen retirees make in a moment of emotion, in a moment of panic, and then they end up regretting later?
Yeah, I mean, I think that some of the things that people think about is like without having a proper plan, it's either retiring too early or, probably retiring much later than you really could have.
Yeah.
And I think, again, those things both are not ideal, because if you're retiring too early just because you don't really have a plan and you're looking at your account and you're like, I feel good and I'm tired of work. Well, that lost income and those lost years of saving could potentially really impact your later years. And so it could be a little bit short-sighted. But on the other end of it, which I feel like is, even worse sometimes, is those people that have done the right things, have saved for retirement, have paid off their debts, have done the heavy lifting, quite frankly, of, maybe driving their cars for a couple of years longer so they don't have that payment and foregoing those nights out, all for this moment. And then what do? Because we don't have a plan in place, because we don't know exactly where our income is coming from or how much risk we're taking in the market, let's say, they end up saying, well, the safest thing for me to do is to keep on working for those 2 or 3 more years. We've got to realize, Casey, that those first 10 years of retirement typically are when we are the healthiest, when we have the opportunity to travel to Europe or Asia or pick up those hobbies that still require us to have that energy or just to keep up with the grandkids. And so we're giving our best years of retirement to our employer. And that's what really breaks my heart when I talk to someone and what we're able to do oftentimes is if we talk it through and we actually create a plan, people can very clearly see that they can retire, earlier, and it lifts their weight off their shoulder because, you could tell someone, hey, you're going to be fine, but until you can actually put a plan in front of them and provide them with that clarity, they're not going to emotionally feel that confidence. So those are the couple other things that I see all the time is those people that just don't have that plan. So they're either pulling the ripcord too early or not soon enough.
That is going to do it for us this week here on The Right Path to Retirement. But Jimmy and I will be back next week with more retirement insight for Las Vegas. But until then, Jimmy, I'm going to hand it back over to you to take us out today, my friend.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for listening. Stay cool. And please give us a call if we could be of any help.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Any reference to the protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This radio podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management. MarketGuard is a firm that provides investment signals as well as portfolio allocation recommendations, wide variety of model portfolios. MarketGuard does not offer advice or enter into fiduciary relationships.